because I put my dice tray right in front of my keyboard, so I can't type. Cool. So, starting where we left off last session, um, as we said, both a whole lot. I just read the message in Roll20. I have never hated math more. That's just too many numbers.
Oh, I'm not
Uh,
even.
I forgot. Wait, when did I roll that? Was that yesterday? Oh, it doesn't timestamp. Thanks, Roll20. Actually, what is that for? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. That is. I just had a truly terrifying moment where I looked at math and I was like, wait. Oh no.
Oh my
I remember.
gosh.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Brains are functioning. Um. So last time, on whatever the fuck this is, we had a whole lot happen and a whole lot of nothing happen. Um. You all trusted an island that was made of flesh, giant hands, and was home to a monarch, and unsurprisingly were betrayed and attacked by a swarm of mimics. You dealt the first wave pretty well, but you saw that there were hundreds, if not a little more than that, continuing to head your way. And everyone got pretty low. We used a lot of resources, and then the mini game happened. The mini game, a completely random choice, was meant with intentions for you guys to wager some number of hit points, whether that was low or high. Dom was expecting that we might roll low because you might think that they might have had way more hit points than you. However, just like most problems in life, we brute forced it and barely won by a few hit points. And sadly, still ended with levels of exhaustion. Almost everyone at 1 HP, if not around that. And down a lot of spell slots. And by the end of the minigame, you had bought yourself a little bit of time to get your monkey maneuvers out there by transferring some spell slots to Rictus. Rictus carrying the boat over to the side and edge of the island, because you still had about 1,000 feet to cover. First a time you did it, he got you halfway. Second time, he got you right on the edge. And just before you were trying to decide how the actual shove off was going to go, and how Jay was actually going to aid in bringing the ship and you down, you ran into a number of figures. The first of all of them you would come to know as the aspect of pride. Some sort of monstrous aberration. A creature born from the monarch of mimics, and a very powerful kind of hybrid between a actual monster and what looked like to be a humanoid, along with its brothers, as each one that showed up had human aspects, whether in appearance, the way they carried themselves, talked, etc., etc. All of them seem to have something along the lines of a humanoid to shape, but clearly were malformed and made mostly of this white substance, almost like Gatorade Cherry Red.
Gatorade.
Gatoroid. Yep. Hey. Hey now. Just remember who controls the levels of exhaustion.
Yep.
You're good. You're good. You you ended up basically half of not half of you, all of you except for Mammoth, falling to one of their auras, which again is truly impressive that you killed the one that was causing that aura to happen first. all of you fell to 0 hit points, not dead, but a forceful unconscious state of unconscious by being permanently kept at 0 hit points by envy. In which a few of you began to dream, including Mammoth, who had the fucked up version of both having the dream internally, but also being able to see these creatures approaching and not be able to do anything about it, as he was frozen in fear. Going into almost a bit of a mind palace, some of you stood before a familiar throne, others questionable, where you saw this strange woman, the silhouette of darkness and the expressionless face of shadow, as you met once again with the Monarch of Mischief. She had reached out to a number of you previously through just voice alone, but seeing the form and just this weird twisting shape was a bit off-putting, and what followed was a deal. She openly admitted that the relic that each of you had used when you previously leveled up back in the sea caves beneath Lansharkia was connected to her. And that part of all of you were now connected to her in one way, shape, or form, whether you liked it or not. But she also said because that she had this investment in you, she wasn't willing to see you die for a unexpected turn of events. So she made a deal. Not exactly describing the terms of the contract, but stating that she loves to let chaos reign and she wanted to see chaos take the world. And if you were willing to see that to fruition, she would help you in this moment. Rictus, being one of the few sane people here, turned that down. Duradon didn't even get a chance because, sorry, Duradon, but you were not part of the party that actually got this availability when everyone leveled up. And only 3 people actually made the choice, with Kipley, Mustang, and Mammoth all making the decision to take on whatever this boon was, not knowing what the extent of help would actually be. We rolled a d4 to see how many levels you would add to your current, and we got 10. So leveling everyone up to level 10, you all had a truly amazing fight, where I've stated many times, and to many others, as a dungeon master, I was baffled by how well you did, considering 3 of you had to work with, well, 4 of you had to work with sheets that you had not seen before. As, again, shout out to Jared, I did remember without even writing it down, you are starting off an additional inspiration die tonight, if that all turns to matter, for running not 1, but 2 character sheets last time, with running both Duradon and Kalan. And all of you pulled out some truly insane spells, abilities, and overall performed amazingly. The actual fight was rather intense. I rolled pretty shit, but even so, managed to get even a level 17 paladin to pretty damn low HP, almost to death, almost to the range of death, as these aspects kept ganging up on the major threat that was actually destroying for them. But you managed to circumvent this. You managed to charm some. You managed to deny others from killing party members and new arrivals. And in one of my at least top 10 moments of this campaign, was Jared essentially acting as Scorpion, saying, "Get over here," dragging one of the more dangerous members, but funny enough, slower moving ones, away from killing Jay, and in doing so, forced an opportunity attack, allowing her to actually do something in the battle. In the end, aiding in the killing and burning to death of 4 of the 5 aspects that appeared. The other aspect, Turdon killed. So, truly insane. After the fight was won, by the time the fight was won, multiple of you had level 5 exhaustion, meaning 1 more equals death. Some of you were either unconscious or close to it, 1 hit point. One of you did die in the form of Rictus, who took way too many blows, and because of the minigame and because of a very unfortunate acid spray, fell as the damage went over his total hit points. But luckily, because you didn't wager any spell slots or any HP from Xyrus, she still had enough to cast a 3rd level spell and revivify him back. And surprisingly, no one else died, despite being oh so close to doing so. After the last aspect was slain, and one by one, you were all dragged onto the ship, there was only about 10 feet to go, and with a 29 strength score, Kalan essentially just pushed the ship the rest of the way off, and with the aid of taking 5 levels of exhaustion as well, Jay, using telekinesis, and Xyrus using control water, managed to guide the ship down through the massive tentacle-armed maze that was the 1-mile drop. You were falling exceptionally fast, which is probably the only reason that you managed to get down without either of the spells running out of their duration. And while it was a slightly controlled fall, all of you barely managed to both hang on and survive, as the impact was dulled by the waves below, and some of you only stayed on by Kalan grabbing you and holding the mast, and others going beneath deck and kind of getting jarred around in the actual crew's quarters. Which, by the way, the ship's fucked. It took a shit ton of damage. It's still, it's not in sinking range. It is still workable. Nothing. Luckily, you didn't take enough damage in 1 turn to get any significant damage to 1 part. And Jork was able to repair it soon enough. So, as we pick up tonight, as a reminder, in the middle of the night, as those lovely 10 minutes have passed, you know what? I'll be generous. 11 minutes have passed. And you all arrive at the bottom of the island of the Moniker Mimics, smashing into the waves, and immediately, with the aid of control water, beginning to cruise away at roughly 140 to 160 feet per turn. You can now see the already darkened sky grows darker. A little bit of moonlight does seep through, but you can smell on the air and you can hear it in the distance as a rainstorm begins to make its way in your direction. not coming from the direction you're going, but actually coming from the island itself, it seems. And as we pick up, two of you are lying on the deck of the ship, completely unable to move. Others barely conscious. And you all stand around one another, looking back up at the island behind you as the ship slowly begins to make its way. So let's go around and get some quick thoughts. Just get some general vibes. We're gonna go in the order of just Discord because I'm lazy. Duradon, what is going through your head after surviving the previous incident? As you lie on the now cold, wet deck of the ship that you've been on for less than 24 hours, 5 levels of exhaustion, 1 hit point.
Duradon is going to speak and inquire to the voice in his head, and he'll say, well, shit, fuck, I guess I lived. That dude that I killed, was you remember any of that from your life living? He looked important. His bones were really hard, so I assume he was of some type of value. Anything you can recall from living?
You a lot of the times, unfortunately for you, you don't have control when the voice speaks. And it's normally in some shape or form of a rant, being the annoying little brother, telling you to do something until you do it, and then just repeating the same message until you do so, or until it gets tired of you not doing it. In this case, in a rare bit of actually answering your question, you do get a response. I know not of its name, nor have I actually met it in life. But I know this. As one of the few who are still connected with nature, certain stories are told and passed down through generations of nightmares and monsters that come from other planes, or a direct opposite of our order. Those who would seek to bring chaos to nature, destroy, burn, kill without reason. That resembled one nightmare that I was told many times when I was a child. I know not its name, but I know this. Whatever it was in life is gone, and only a cruel, evil fate lies ahead. It was temporary, but for a moment you did strike down that evil. We'll be back soon. Unfortunately so. And the voice goes quiet.
Ooh.
Kipling,
Hmm.
5 levels of exhaustion. Also lying on the deck of the ship.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she got she's slashed open, and yeah, she's lying there, like holding one arm, like just holding her organs in. And she's just like lying there. Oh, you know what? I think she would be. I don't know if she saw Rictus earlier. I feel like she would be reaching out a hand and just kind of calling out in the chaos and everything happening, and just being like calling out Rictus's name, because I think the last thing she saw was him going down, or that she remembers in everything happening right now.
For sure. As you kind of look around, unable to move your body, a state of lethargic paralysis would be a more kind fate than what you are currently experiencing. The 5 levels of exhaustion seeping into your body is effectively sleep paralysis times 10.
Ugh.
You are fully awake, you are fully conscious, but as you go to move your limbs, your arms, your fingers, you think you are reaching out as you look up in the rain, looking around the ship towards Rictus, but your arms are almost glued down to the sides, feeling like they weigh 100 times their normal weight. You feel your eyes heavy, your overall magical energy tapped. You feel completely at 0. But as you do call out and reach out, you do see the small artificer gnome with monkey in hand, as Rupert did survive, on the deck of the ship. Rictus, if you'd like to respond or do anything, I can break order.
No, we can keep going.
Okay. Maneth, you are one of the few people in this world who have resisted what is close to a demigod-like effect. You were conscious as all of your friends fell. You accepted a deal without knowing the contract. You tasted power that you've never dreamed of in your life. And you were also, funny enough, one of the key reasons of why your friends are still alive.
What? Why?
All of those lovely D6s that you gave out to people. And the healing. Because without you and Mustang actually
the
healing the
D6,
NPCs,
yeah.
they would have been dead.
Uh-huh.
As that information sits with you and you are holding onto the edge, the railing of the ship, looking back out towards the island, what's going through his head?
I think probably for the first time, Boy's got too many thoughts in his head, and he's just kind of like doing the 1,000-yard stare into the fucking ocean and just trying to process and not succeeding super well.
While you're doing so, go ahead and just make me a quick perception check. It's your 1,000-yard staring. And luckily, you're one of the few people who don't have disadvantage on that, so go ahead and make me a straight roll. 24. Yeah, as you kind of just zone out, looking over the now kind of much darker and stormy night that looks like it's going to be ahead of you. You look up and you can see, as the moonlight kind of crests over the island, you can see all of the cut limbs that are now fully overgrown. You can see the sprays of water as it begins to continue its direction. Not following you, but continuing to stay its course. Kind of in a diagonal between both you and and Paradise Peak. And as you look out, you can see there is just an overwhelming amount of detail that your mind can't currently comprehend. That you were just up there. That you were just fighting creatures that you could only imagine in your nightmares. And that you met and not met directly, but spoke to in some capacity to a monarch that you don't even fully understand what that means yet. So yeah, as Mammoth's head is filled with an unbelievable amount of thoughts, the only thing that you can make out with a 24, because 24 is pretty good, is the number of shapes off in the distance that appear to be headed towards the island. You can see some sprays of water also headed in your vague direction as well. Rictus. The gnome that lived. Come to die. No. As you were kind of by the main mast where Rupert's body is affixed to, kind of clinging with its very life, you can see Rupert's hand is detached and falls prone onto the ship. Your body feels heavy. Your very soul itself feels heavy. Not just for what you physically went through, but also the experience that you have. One of the few people who actually have now understood is the process of dying, of going through a rebirth with Revivify, and having that life taken away from you with no control on your end. As you are drenched, actually, as the rain kind of kicks in some of the very foul acidic substances that were previously coating you and the Warhammer begin to kind of dilute off what is going through Rictus's head.
He is trying to logically figure out what just happened in the last 11 minutes with Rupert doing what he did to stop the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to figure out that whole process, what brought it on, trying to wrap his head around dying and coming back, and the voice that he heard right before he come back. When he starts remembering that voice, you can see the look on his face just kind of turn kind of more confused than anything, as he doesn't quite understand if that was really her or if it was just his imagination.
Sure. Want to make me a quick intelligence check. Just raw intellect.
Is this a straight roll or?
I'm
at level 3. 3.
This is at disadvantage.
Okay.
Luckily, you can still move, but you're at a disadvantage.
16.
16? Cool. Hard to tell definitely in the moment as you are still processing everything, but some solace does fill you, as you've heard many times for others, mainly traveling adventurers who either stopped by, see your family for repairs on armor, swords, or just rogues who told dashing stories aboard dwellers of life and memories and loved ones flashing before your eyes before you die. You hope that's what it was. It makes sense that that's what it was, but you're unsure of how deep that goes in this moment. Of whether it was something else. And if it was, what exactly did that mean? But still processing everything else while the exhaustion falls over you. You can all see, as you continue moving, Xyrus at the helm. Manning it, you can see sweat, blood, both being washed away by the rain. The previous demeanor of caution and overall just the cautious approach that she had previously that turned to this kind of wild attitude once you started fighting has died down, and you can see is a bit more calm. Has a slight dull smile over her face as she kind of looks about the ship and looks forward as control water still has roughly about a minute or so on it as she continues to use it to increase the ship's speed. And you can also see Kalan still on the ship. Oh, excuse me. You see that the golden armor he was wearing, slightly tarnished by black ichor. You can see his golden eyes almost giving off a slight glow, slight dim glow in this kind of darkness that you're headed into. And you see as he kind of looks about all of you and looks back towards the island, seeing that you're all alive, gives a soft smile, goes over and grabs both Durdon and Kipley by the wrist, and kind of drags you both to the very back of the ship by the helm, and places you kind of leaned up against the bow so that you are not just flat on your backs with the rain falling in your face. And he looks around to all of you and goes, "You should feel very proud, all of you, for what you did today. Not many people in my life would have stayed in that situation. I'm not saying that you had the choice to leave, but it was truly remarkable. I don't know what you did. I don't know what exactly that was, or who a lot of you really are, but you should stand proud today. You stood against a strong adversary and lived. That is not something to scoff at. I still have a job to do, and you have a destination to reach. Remember my previous request. None of you dies until you find Maeve." And you see he slow turns and looks over towards Rictus. None of you.
He gives a nod.
Stories will spread. Tales will be told of this day. I will make sure to add that standing by my side and behind me. He kind of looks over. With some brave souls. 6 of them. I have a job to do. The rest of you. And he looks towards Duradon Kipling. I suggest you close your eyes pretty soon. The morning is yet to be upon us, and you are both in a terrible state. I'll leave her with you. And he nods over towards Jay, who is starfished on the deck as well. Also with 5 levels of exhaustion, so she physically can't get up. And she goes, Vulcan is earned her rest. Well done. I will attempt to make sure nothing comes of harm to you. As he's saying this, and as Mammoth is doing the 1,000-yard stare, you can see, even though it's still headed off kind of in an adjacent direction to you, see arms are beginning to reach out towards the ship once more. And Kalan kind of grabs the armor and whispers into Zelena's zenith. And after about a minute, you watch. Actually, don't see anything immediately appear, but you all just hear the whinny of a horse, and trotting over the water with ivory covered wings and a large, almost stallion-like build. You can see this angelic Pegasus flap its wings in the stormy night and clomp onto the deck. Kalan puts a leg up and positions himself on top of the Pegasus and gives you all one last nod before macking the reins and watching both him and the Pegasus fly off into the night towards the onslaught of hands coming your way. And you can see, after he gets off quite a distance, you can see that light brimming from him that previously encaptured a number of very powerful enemies begin to lock down some of the arms as they get within his reach. The moment you think you're safe, the ship continues to travel outward. Control water fades, unfortunately, as the 12th minute passes. And the ship slows to a very gentle retreat. You can hear the island's movement sloshing, almost like a tsunami behind you each time, as it begins to continue its thrashing pace. You all battered, beaten, and bleeding for the most part, kind of look at one another and take in what you did. First time that you were given the option to run. Many of you, using various forms of flight, minor teleportation, or a number of other abilities, could have ran easily. but you all stuck with each other, fighting to your last. And because of that, you all feel slightly different. Not just different in body and mind, but you can feel something's changed. So you've gone through something that most people will never even dream of in their entire lifetime. And Kipley, Mammoth, and Mustang, as that power leaves you, and you can feel yourself returning to normal, that vitality gone, all of the previous gifts that you were given returned. Feel a minor spark within you. Almost like a small kindling flame. Some aspect of the Monarch of Mischief will always be with you. This is known to you in this moment. As all of you have achieved the amount of stress, endurance, combat ability, and emotional experience to level up through many different ways, the three of you immediately recognize this. That whatever was gained, while it was by your own doing, was not of your own power. Duradon Rictus, on the other hand, more Duradon's side, you can feel yourself for the first time in your life at your lowest. It's rare when you're knocked out. Knocked unconscious is not something the Savage Hunter has seen many times in his life. But in this moment, you can feel your muscle fibers torn apart, your breath heavy. As the rain falls on you, you watch as steam rises, bits of mist slowly drifting off of your form, as just raw internal heat from all of the physical exertion that you had gone through, forcing your body to rage after rage after rage, pulling off miraculous amounts of strength, also using an insane amount of crystalline carbonate. You feel, while drained to your very last drop, also a sharpness that you've never felt before in your life. You feel like what is mere minutes away from death to be also your strongest. As almost as if your body has rewarded you for pushing it past its limits and then some. In a similar way, Rictus. You have hit many things with hammers in your life. You have also cast many spells, mostly minor cantrips, tinkering, infusions. But never before have you given up as many spell slots instantaneously as you did twice tonight. Thrice if you include the first time. And you can feel, while still being able to move and having full capabilities of your mind, as you kind of think back, you know there are limits to what you can exert physically when it comes to magic. You are a man of science. You don't know how to explain what happened tonight, and whether that annoys you, intrigues you, piques your curiosity. You have found, in doing so repeatedly, through the aid of both yourself and others, you have unlocked something that you did not think possible. As you feel, in the past, have gone through reawakenings in a similar light, fighting, hoping, some aspect of desire to grow and be better. But in a primal instinct to survive, you unleashed more spell slots in a number of seconds than any mage could have done. And doing this 3 times in rapid succession in one night, feel your body has grown because of it. The closest thing that you can use to describe this feeling is almost like pores that you didn't know were there have opened up, allowing you to understand the flow of animus and magic more easily. And you feel that change is earned for your own hard work and your own discovery of whatever it is that you have recently acquired with Rupert's gem. And one by one, you can see each and every single one of you, excluding Jay and Zyrus, begin to obtain a slight golden orange aura. Some of you, tears of gold fall from your eyes, dripping onto the floor. And in the complete still darkness that covers most of the Dragon's Vow, it is now lit by the orange light of a reawakening, of many reawakenings. As a beacon for what is to come, the Dragon's Vow continues to sail on. However, as it does, Mammoth,
Yes.
one of the few people actually staring off into the distance. You can only make out silhouettes at this range. You're still not that far off from the island. At this point, considering the verticality of the fall and small speech from Kalan, you're still only about 600 feet away, moving much slower than before. And you know, the arms can reach that distance, but you can see Kalan fighting them in the distance. One of the only reasons you can tell it's him is because that blazing aura of the sun that was previously surrounding him is lighting up the night sky once more, causing this almost miniature dawn to arrive in the middle of this night. And it's probably only because of that dawn that you can see a large figure lumber over to the side of the island. And you recognize it. as you've seen it mere minutes ago. You see the long, curled horns, the red burning eyes, the skull-like face, as the even larger form of the aspect of Raph stares out towards your ship. It was dead less than a minute ago. You see it has returned, looking even more filled with anger than previously did. All of you hears it in some aspect, but only one of you fully takes in the roar that follows out for the night, as it takes in a deep breath and screams out into the night. I apologize for those who had that
fucking
on
God.
Was
You
not
awake,
ready for
Rictus?
that. Yes.
Good morning, Rictus. Good morning, Brian.
Holy shit.
Also, I don't know if you had your soundboard on, Jared, but the 10 times.
Yeah, I had the soundboard on.
Okay.
Oh my
The 10 times
God.
scarier version of the Wendigo-like scream that you heard in the distance. Originally in the forest, the slumbering thicket when you fought off Ada's monsters. You hear that times 10, if not times 100, as the resounding scream of nothing but hatred and raw power leaks out from this being and echoes in your direction, where there is a proclamation of death or a scream of rage or unsure. But what follows is another voice that you cannot quite make out. Something that too far away for you to fully hear and understand. Maybe if you can only hear the distant traveling of whatever echoes it is. But carrying on the wind, just audible to both you. And Durdon, what's your passive perception? Because I think yours is also obscenely high.
23.
23, more than enough. You can hear calling out in this rageful scream. Brother, are you going to sit idly by as they escape, sundering your corpse? Goes out into the distance. And this sounds like almost a hushed fall once it reaches you. And you hear one last call. Sloth! I know you can hear me. A moment passes as you all stare slowly up in horror towards the creature as it screams outward. Even for a moment, both Duradon... Actually, yeah, Duradon can see you because of your new perk.
Yes,
Because Eagle Barbarian. You can see up to a mile, right?
Up to a mile with precise detail.
You can see
Okay.
off in the distance, even as Kalan, who is slashing through the base of these hands, not even going for the hands themselves, but just hacking through, hacking through the actual origin, like the actual trunk of this thing, looks up, and you can see a disturbing image, as you're the only one that can actually see this far, of forming in Raph's hand. You can see him holding the bloody heart that was left behind after you killed these things. And you watch as it grows outward. Almost how, when you see, this is going to be an obscenely funny version of this, of when you see a potato grow out its roots. when it is searching for water and soil. You watch as breaking out in almost every single direction, you can see veins, blood, and viscera scatter across his hand and then disturbingly form upwards into the large creature that is Sloth. Wings covered in fresh blood, the face soaked in almost this kind of just birth like disturbing gel. And you watch as he rears his hand back and once again lets out another screaming cry, throwing Sloth in your direction. And you can see, sadly, being one of the only people that can see, the rate that your ship is moving and the strain thrown by this creature. You don't know if he's going to make it. Go ahead and make me a perception check with disadvantage. As this newly born form of Sloth comes hurling in your direction. 13. You don't know if he's going to make it. But you are the only one that can see this currently. Azyrus is still at the helm, kind of glanced previously when the roar occurred, but doesn't actually seem to notice what you can see hurling towards your ship.
I'm gonna telepathically to her, say, "Hey, seems like you're busy. The fat one is coming this way, so maybe make it faster." He's
Yeah. You say this, and you watch as she turns, not being able to see in the darkness as well as you, and gives you a confused look as she kind of stares up towards the island, and it is to anybody else a mere speck of darkness being thrown in the night, going hundreds of feet per second. Massively, just this kind of bolt of speed, thrown towards you. I'll give her a check. I'm gonna tell you right now, she's a big bonus. I don't know if she's gonna be able to make it. That is gonna be a disadvantage roll because of the range. 16? Nope. Sad to that 27 though. You see she looks off and she can see like the speck but can't make out what it is, and she narrows her eyes. And it's at this point when you can notice that previously the kind of few pillars that Mammoth saw before of branching seawater, it was about a minute ago. You see her rapidly continuing to move in your direction. Do you point those out to Duradon? Or do you say anything, Mammoth, or are you just continuing the 1,000-yard stare?
Are these like directly in front of me, or?
They are like, before they were like 1,000 feet off. You could only see it because the spray of water was kind of reflecting the moonlight slightly, but you couldn't see what was making it. And you can see it's been moving in a straight line towards you for about a minute and a half at this point.
Yeah, at this point he'll kind of like snap to, and like I don't think he'll be ready for words yet, but he'll just kind of like point and like look around and see if anybody's like looking at him.
Fucking pointed kid meme. Sure. So you don't say anything, you just point?
Yeah, for the moment.
Cool. Luckily, most people's passive perceptions are high. Otherwise, I said you wouldn't notice. But both Kipley, Rictus, your passive is also pretty high of 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of you who are currently present notice that Mammoth is pointing off into the distance wordlessly.
What's over in that direction?
You take a look.
Yeah.
As much as
Uh,
you can move your head.
Yeah, I know, it's just fucking. I imagine it's just Xyrus almost using you like a fucking God, what's in submarines? The periscope. It's just
Yeah.
taking your head and turning it in the direction you want to see. It's like, describe to me. What do you see? She kind of turns your head around, just bing, 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 bing. Yeah, cool. She will turn you so that your body is now facing the railing and your head is kind of like leaning on top of it. Kind of like your arms like slightly just loosely hanging over the edge. Go ahead and make me another perception check at disadvantage. You're gonna get details no matter what, but it just determines what level.
This is.
That's
Ooh.
So here's the thing. Mist is spraying up all around whatever this is that's coming at you. And you don't know what it is. Like, you can see it's not big, whatever it is. There's two of them, and they're not that large. You can't even make out the entire silhouette because you rolled a 1. But you can see, like, two things are almost like skating on top of the water, and because they are moving at such speeds, a spray of water kind of about like 5 to 10 feet tall behind them is just jouting out as they make their way quickly towards your direction. They are kind of, you know, you can't tell if they are larger silhouettes, but they certainly don't look small.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So she kind of like smacks the side of your head in a gentle, playful way. And goes, "Well, that's not very helpful, is it?" And then she points you back up and goes, "What exactly do you see?" And you can now see Sloth, which, by the way, is the winged one. He was the slow motherfucker that Kipley charmed. Is now barreling towards you, and you think like ETA in the back of your head. You're like, "Cool, this guy's gonna be here in like 15 seconds. Like,
Oh my
this is bad."
God.
Yeah, so the fat one with the wings, the completely fucking disrespectful being of nature, fat fuck. Yeah, he's approaching like really fast. Really fast.
And you can see at this point, Jay just kind of shouts out towards Cyrus and goes, "Hey, do you mind if you actually pick me up? I'm not able to stand up my own, but I don't think anyone else is going to be able to do much." And Cyrus rushes over and kind of puts her arm and like head underneath Jay's and lifts her up to standing, and kind of begins to move her over towards the helm where you are all mostly gathered. And you can see Jay is exhausted. She has 5 levels exhaustion as well. She physically cannot move without assistance. She cannot even hold the blade that is in her hands at the moment. But you watch as she reaches kind of into her bag and grabs something and turns towards Cyrus and goes, "I can't break this right now. Can you go ahead and break the crystal that's in my hand? Just squeeze it real tight, please. Also, you guys owe me a lot of gold for this." This is not at all what is in my job description. And you watch as Zyrus reaches into the bag and pulls out a crimson red kind of ruby that glistens in this night. And again, you guys are all glowing orange. So like there is a modicum of kind of dim light throughout the entire ship as they're all kind of gathered together. And you can see as it kind of reflects off of the gem, you all can now clearly see the massive form of Sloth barreling towards you in your direction as they're all kind of gathered on the edge of the ship. You can see the wings are outspread, the claws are in a wide stance, kind of like almost mid Superman, but with so much more aggression. And the just overarching kind of like devil aspect like that you saw previously. I mean, his body's just covered in crimson, just covered in gore, and you don't know if it's his own or if it's someone else's. But claws outstretched, reaching towards you all, you watch as Zyrus crushes the gem in her hand. And truly, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Maeve's dead corpse is still on the ship. Oh, that is so fucked up of me. I forgot to delete that. I apologize.
A heart.
Maeve's corpse appears when she crushes the gem. Oh, that would be so great. But no. You see as she crushes the crimson ruby in her hand, it shatters. And for a moment, nothing happens. And you all look at one another, just kind of confirming your fate, as you all can't do shit. You are at the levels of exhaustion that stop you from doing basically anything, including getting up. Almost all of you, if not every single one of you, is drained of every single spell slot except for what you get from your level ups. And you just came out of the battle pretty damn fucked up. The gem is crushed, and you watch as a spark appears in the air before Sloth. And an almost Doctor Strange-esque spiral begins to quickly spin, creating a circular pattern. And not walking through it or emerging out of it, but you watch as a large body is thrown from it towards Sloth. And the thing that you all immediately see and hear is a deep snoring and a motherfucker as in silken pajamas and a silk nightcap, you watch as a very confused and very sleepy Ada Drawcart is thrown from the gem and smashes against Sloth face to face, impacting.
Pajamas? That's horrible.
And almost like a really fucked up Pokemon battle, Ada hits him. The momentum from Sloth knocks her prone. Sloth falls on top of her. And just like if you ever seen a dog get pushed over, fall of any kind, and it immediately panics and its legs start sprawling, you see the wings of Sloth rapidly begin to kick around. Its legs begin to like reach out and try and claw her. And you just hear a thud as she just punches it off of her, and Sloth kind of wings battered out in its direction, blows off of the ship, and just kind of hovers in the air in front of her. And you can see this girl, Ada, well-respected warrior, one of the council, a sponsor, also a very strong warrior, also a parasite from another world. You know she got a whole lot going on. She is in her jams, and they are purple, and it looks like she was awakened by this. And she looks around at each and every single one of you, looks back at Sloth, looks at Cyrus, and then looks at Jay and goes, "You motherfucker." I was in the middle of my beauty sleep. I have not slept in days. And you summoned me for this? And she just points at Sloth. And Jay goes, "Look, man, I don't know what aspect of I'm in danger you don't get right now. I am concentrating on a spell that I should not be able to concentrate on at the moment. I am at death's door, and you owed me a favor and said I could use that in emergencies. This is an emergency. Deal with it, please, and thank you." You see Ada turns towards all of you, turns towards it, and you see Sloth, not waiting for conversation, reaches out and goes for a strike, and Ada fully, almost like little brother swinging on big brother. You watch as the flame covered lion's paw that she used against Maeve in the very first round of the vassalship tournament comes out, and just paws its forehead and holds him 10 feet away from the ship. Still looking at Jay, going, "Really, though? Did you have to do it tonight? Did you have to do it tonight? Because Can you hold on for a second?" And you watch as she pushes Sloth beneath the water, and you just... as bubbles begin to come up from the surface. As she looks around all of you and goes, "What the hell happened?" Looks back towards the island and goes, "Oh, shit." Fuck. Okay. Alright. I didn't know this shit. That makes more sense. Cool. Y'all still good? Y'all still alive? What's the tally? What's the head count? Anyone down? Oh, no, you're all still alive, and you're all glowing. Oh, you motherfuckers. Did it again. I don't know whether to be concerned about that or proud, but I think I'm going to share in both at the moment. Cool. I'll deal with this. Y'all just figure out a way to keep this going. All right?
I think that's all we can do. We don't have anything left.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, bud. But hey, good job on surviving whatever the fuck that is. Also, I think I'm gonna have to actually do my job tonight. Cool. Hey, Jay. Lovely little Vulcan of mine. And you see she's kind of ruffles through Jay's hair. You don't happen to have any scrolls on you, do you? Or anything that can fly? Because I can't get up there by myself. And you see she deeply sighs, and you watch as she pulls out a scroll from her bag and hands it to Ada. She goes, "You're a doll. This is an emergency from the island and for the council. So unfortunately, I cannot reimburse you for this, and you did wake me from my sleep, so I think that's also fair game." And you watch as Ada casts Fly on herself, and begins to drift 60 feet, still grappling Sloth and dragging him through the water towards the island, as both of them disappear, all while in her PJs still. And you are left stunned in a moment of pure and utter confusion. As this was truly a what the fuck moment, and you do not know what happened. Also, I forgot to add J in there. Boop. But yeah, as Sloth is literally dragged away from you, like a feral kind of chihuahua. What's everyone doing?
The first words out of Mammoth's mouth in, like, I don't know, a while is just, what?
Such a valid response.
I'm ready for this night to end.
Yeah, you can say that again.
You see Zyrus kind of turns around from the helm and just goes, I think I'd like a raise. Also, I think I won the bet, so...
Oh, wait, fuck no. Wait a minute, hold on. I didn't die. That was that motherfucker. He'll nudge over to Rictus.
You kind of like limply try and kick your foot in his direction. Rictus is too far away. And she goes, no, but my curiosity truly beat me on this one, and it has bitten me largely in the ass, in the form of something literally biting my ass. So I would just like to put that out there. This is a lot for the first day out, and I'm so overly concerned for what is to follow.
Have you guys even made it to any like day twos, or is this just like kind of the sixes thing, like day ones and then chaos? What is do any of you know what a day two is like after this type of stuff?
And you can see Jay from Prone goes, I really think all of you are just the worst.
We all.
How do you manage to get caught up in this?
We didn't even ask for this. We didn't go.
And then
looking
she
for it.
turns towards Duradon and just goes, you motherfucker.
Did I do?
I hope you know that you know who I know. What we are talking about right now is pissed. Not as much as me.
Oh, yeah.
And truly,
I know she would call you.
she gave me full extent to ask any favor of you, and I am going to think over that tonight. Because you just interrupted my dinner date with my husband, who I get to see once a month. Once a month, Duradon. And I am covered in blood. I cannot move. Choice words do not describe what I am feeling right now.
You know, you.
Also, you've never met this woman before in your life, but you know of her. You, because of your relationship with just general bounty hunting and your relationship to Evelyn Kroll, know that in her stead, each sponsor has a Vulcan that can act as a replacement for that sponsor in case something happens to them. Evelyn Kroll uses Jay essentially as a consistent backup, as she herself doesn't like doing sponsor duties, so she just piles it on her instead. So you've heard of her doing things before, and when you've reached out, you've heard Jay's voice before, but you've actually never met her in person. It's your first time actually putting a face to the voice.
Oh, nice. Well, hi. It's nice to meet you for the first time.
Cannot say the
Listen.
same.
Okay. To be fair, it's these motherfuckers. I don't know what their deal is. I just know that I was asked to step in after a tragedy, and then tragedy part 2 happened. All right, I don't fucking know what their deal is. Are did one of you are any of you cursed? Like, is there like a deific unluck thing that you all have going on?
Kipley's arm
This has to-
flaps.
Not true. I'll say. Excuse me. Not true. Um. Oh, that's funny.
What do you? Yeah.
As you say that, Duradon, can you actually go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw?
Oh wait, I wouldn't like to.
That's a shame. Honestly, still got to do it.
Got you. Cool. That is a surprisingly just a flat check or flat save.
Makes you advantage.
I'm gonna use the fucking freebie that I get.
Sure. Good. Roll one more time. Let me tell you, not enough. Cool. So, as you say that, and by the way, Mammoth, are you still doing 1,000? Are you not doing 1,000 yards stare? You broke away from that, but are you still kind of like looking out from the ship?
I'm kind of looking at whatever's going on.
Sure. You can see, and now Duradon can see at the kind of like both your corner of your eye as you're saying this. Those pillars of water are real close, only about 300 feet off at this point, and rapidly approaching. And Duradon makes the slight kind of like funny comment of haha, might be cursed. Kipley.
Oh god.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Actually, let me just reorganize where everyone is. You are being used as a little scope right there. You were dragged up there. Reese is chilling over there. There's multiple of Reese, so Reese is duplicated now. Jay is by the helm. Mustang is also over here. Cool. So, you kind of make that offhand comment. Kipling. Normally, you need to have your lens on your face to have any magical senses. You don't know if it's just because you're reawakened or just because in this moment you have a deeper connection with your patron because of the reawakening. But not even having the lens on, you look as Duradon laughs at that, and the light coming from both kind of like Rictus, Mustang, and all of you that is lighting up the area, you look into Duradon's shadow, and you see there is a face staring back at you. And unfortunately, don't really have a reaction to it. As you watch, Duradon falls forward, face first onto the deck of the ship. Not unconscious, but physically just pushed down. And literally emerging from the shadow almost on cue, you see the aspect of Pride who, out of character, who had been hiding in Duradon's shadow the entire time, because you're the motherfucker that killed him, and Pride's a spiteful bitch. You watch as he's been emerges from the shadow and knocks you down, goes and raises both hands, kind of like in a wide greeting gesture, almost like are you not entertained gesture, and goes, "What a wonderful choice of words. I do agree. A number of you are cursed. But I curse you specifically, little man." Reaches down and the claws headed towards Durdon. And in this moment, Mammoth, looking kind of back and forth all around the ship, you don't see it. Durdon, even though you have a eagle mile vision, can't see shit when your head's on the floor. The only two people, ironically enough, that knows what's coming is... Oops, excuse me. I forgot to make him one size bigger. Hey, man. If I'm going to put him there, going to be lore accurate, all right?
Size just throws everyone aside.
Just, and no, that's literally what happens. He emerges from the shadows, Durdon eats shit, and Kipley gets thrown to the side of the ship. The only two people who have ever felt this sensation before, and not from, I think it's from Pride, but Kipley and Mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
As the thunderstorm rolls in, and as Pride emerges and the large form, again, Pride is not as big as his brothers. Pride is still 18 feet tall and an absolute unit of a man. Not unit of an aberration. Reaches down with his claws. Kipley and Mammoth, every single hair on your body stands on end. And you get a tingle down both of your spines. Both of you go ahead real quick, just for the funsies of it, and make me a history check with advantage. Just to see if you remember what this is. 16, 17. It's hard to forget, man. All the way back in session 2, and a month ago in in-game time, both of you had the unfortunate circumstance of feeling what no one else in the party has actually felt before, which also you don't want them to feel, as you would never really wish upon anyone else. And that is the feeling of getting hit by lightning. Every single one of you immediately feels heat like you've never felt before in your life. Kipley, already on the ground, luckily. Mammoth, one of the shortest people in the group, luckily, don't get hit. As Rictus, Rictus, Xyrus, and Kipley and Mammoth all watch as Aspect of Pride, someone you just spent the entire time fighting up there, nearly died, some of you did die, claws up in the air, swings down towards Durdon. You watch as, in a flash of speed that you physically cannot comprehend, nor you can actually track with your eyes, bolts, multiple bolts of lightning arc into his back, incinerate his right shoulder. The smell of an electrical fire fills the air, and you watch as the body
Ah, yes, the body.
Don dead.
You cut out.
Yeah, we didn't hear any of that.
Shit. My apologies. You watch as the form of Pride
Damn.
Third time's a charm.
What the fuck?
Oh.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if he full crashed or just gave up.
So
What the
severe was
fuck?
the damage.
you watch Discord for the third time. Motherfucker.
That's so
What?
funny.
Discord spites the DM multiple times over. Just rage quits IRL. God damn it. You watch as the form of Pride, the right hand side of him, going from shoulder down, is immediately incinerated, turning to ash. And the rest of his body is immediately frozen up in a static like stance, paralyzed, as his corpse falls dead on top of Duradon.
Rip.
This is funny. Someone.
And after a few moments, reduces the rest of it to ash. As only what is left is the small beating heart that is left behind after you kill them. Which you watch Xyrus kicks like a soccer ball and goes sailing over the edge of the water, over the edge of the ship, into the water. And you can see, climbing aboard the ship on top of a pillar of water are two figures. One kind of landing and immediately looking around, and the other remaining on the pillar, just kind of pushing the ship with control water to re-up that speed once more. As you see, for the most of you, two familiar faces. As you see Percival Rennell, and you see Pearl Viridian. As Percy lands on the deck of the ship, you can see his form in its entirety is wreathed in actively snapping and glowing electricity. Over his face, there's almost a kind of mask-like silhouette of what you can only see is like you can kind of make a shape as like an owl mask of electricity. Kind of wreaves back over the back of his head. You can still see behind the mask the glasses are still on. And it kind of just runs down his form as he steps onto the ship and the electricity dies down, and he just kind of kicks some of the soot from the soot kind of left over from Pride, and looks at all of you and looks at him and goes, "And I was told that they were children of the monarch. Perhaps I hit a little too hard. I was meant to interrogate him. Oh well." And kind of with a cocky grin looks around to the rest of you. My, the six. You all have been busy, haven't you? And you can
Flips
see at
the
this point,
bird.
Pearl also lands on the back of the ship. The water now kind of cascading on the back, pushing it down. And you can see Percy kind of looks over all of you and goes, "You know, it's not every day when you're on a midnight stroll and you are told that there's a mission for you to go ahead and guard a ship in the middle of the ocean that is being attacked by the Monarch of Mimics. Truly, your luck is astounding." Uh, Also, the fact that you were alive is even more astounding. I don't know whether to say well done or ask you to go ahead and play in a gambling hall for me at the moment. Because you are incredibly lucky and unlucky at the same time. And you see he goes ahead and kind of walks around and begins to inspect all of you, while Pearl is just kind of like silently sitting on the edge of the railing, just kind of looking over. Just kind of, she is now holding up the 1,000-yard stare in Mammoth's place, just kind of staring off, going at any lengths to avoid direct eye contact. You see as Percy like gets in, he flips over Duradon for one. He goes, "Oh, new face. Nice to meet you." And goes and looks at both Duradon and Kipley and goes, "Oh, oh dear. Right, both of you have been very, very busy. I can tell you've made a number of bad decisions. And that has added up to multiple levels of exhaustion. Right. Both of you are going to die very soon. That's not great. Pearl, would you be a dear and help these lovely people?" And he grabs Kipley by the wrist and Duradon by the wrist and kind of drags you together. And goes, "I'm going to go ahead and limb here and say you haven't had a nice long rest in a while. And as dawn approaches, your bodies are not going to hold out for very long. The rest of you, how? Oh, dearie me." And looks towards Jay, and kind of looks back towards Pearl, looks back towards Jay, and goes, "I'll get to you in a minute." And you watch as he takes out a vial from his coat. This like small glass vial, not quite the size of a potion of healing, slightly smaller, but you can see it has a slightly dark orange covered orange liquid, excuse me. You can see he uncorks it and goes, "Right, we're going to need 2 5th levels. I'm sorry, but you know the deal." And hands it over to Pearl. And Pearl looks at both of you for a second, looks at Kipley for a long second, for knocking it back, and you watch just as all of you are currently glowing orange. No one has actually seen Pearl awaken through Sectrum. You watch as Pearl, orange, and golden tears run down her face. Her hair, for a moment, orange-esque highlights run through them, kind of turning into this almost like sunset orange and red streaks. And she reaches down, laying one hand on Duradon and one hand on Kipley, and casts Greater Restoration. Your exhaustion doesn't go away, but is reduced by 1. So you're both at 4 levels of exhaustion. And then, without saying a word to either of you, begins to walk over towards Jay, and Percy kind of almost skips over to her and goes, "My dear, dear Vulcan, what a state you are in. What happened to you?" "Oh, I don't have to ask what happened to you. They happened to you, right? You know, I can help you out, but..." And you see Jay kind of looks up at him with like almost a moment of not hatred, but just kind of, I know where this is going and I don't like it. Just a moment of understanding, and goes, "Mr. Rennell, I've already had multiple disappointments this evening. If you're gonna pitch me something that you know I'm already gonna say no to, don't pitch it to me. And he goes, well, even elves need to sleep, my dear. Trance, in one way or another. And you don't have enough time till dawn comes up. So it's either you're dead, or you get my help. He lets out a long, exasperated sigh. Yes. Fine. I'll put in a word. Just a word. Not promising it's all gonna be good words. All I need to hear, love. Go ahead. Pearl just kind of taps Jay with one finger on the forehead, and also casts Greater Restoration again. And you can see she immediately, having the ability to stand up, just kind of sits up and kind of turns and pulls herself onto the deck, kind of staring at her, and he goes, "Pleasure doing business with you." Turns to the rest of you. So tell me, how did things go? Wonderful to see you all alive. From what I have been told, you all fought very interesting creatures. This one, and he kind of kicks some more ash off of what used to be Pride. This one was weaker than I expected. I kind of burned through a lot of resources to kill him, because I thought he'd be a bit stronger, but I assume the rest of you fought more alike to his kin, yes? Tell me the details. It's not every day you get to have this story. And you see he kind of leans back against the railing and at least looks like he makes himself comfortable.
Maybe some other time. We're all kind of tired.
Come
I
now.
can't speak for the rest of them, but I'm not really in a storytelling mood.
Well, I'm gonna be stuck here for at least a day. So get some rest. Tell me upon the morrow. And I will keep watch. Go get some much needed rest, my friends. I look forward to what you have to say.
Rictus won't even really acknowledge anything. He just kind of grabs a hold of Rupert, even though Rupert can kind of barely move as he is, and they just go below deck.
For sure. Mustang just seeps through the floor. Down to the crew's quarters. Homer Simpson's his way out. Reese doesn't even bother say anything. Also, just heads down. Rest of you, are you all heading off for a long rest?
Yeah.
Cool. As you all head down for a long rest, you can go ahead and mark one down. You are going to be sleeping late into the next morning. However, since you have a very powerful ally watching over you, there's no need to roll for anything. As you've already been through enough, and I'm not a complete asshole. So, I'll go ahead and mark down a long rest. But, but, before we go to the next morning, as sleep begins to find some of you faster than others, one of our very exhausted friends finds themselves in a different state of dreaming. Ghibli.
God damn it.
Oh, what's the matter? You are met with an unexpected and kind of strangely pleasant dream. It is not lucid in the fact that you have control over it, but it is lucid in the element that you know it's not real. As you wake up in a bed that is not on the Dragon's Vow, you look outside, and it's a light kind of morning mist. You smell ocean water, salt drifting through the air. And as you open drapes, you look out and see a beautiful tree standing over what is now currently your home. As the shade kind of casts over the dweller, you can hear some rumbling off in the distance. Storm's probably on its way. Weather's nice for the moment. You sit up in bed, begin preparing some food. As you can tell, it's probably, even though you just woke up, sometime closer to about 10, maybe 11 in the morning. And you set 2 plates out on a table. Sitting down at one, kind of beginning to eat your meal. You watch as the door cracks open. It is. I would say that it is raining cats and dogs, but I fear it would actually start doing so if I said, oh, I already said it. Well, my dear, looks like we're going to have to put ourselves up to adopt some new creatures. As you see the warm smile you've not seen since that day of Navarre. Staring at you kind of for a moment in the doorway with that stupid grin on his face. For some reason, you find yourself smiling. You don't know why. As he kind of takes off his blacksmith's apron, hangs it on the door, and goes, what has you in such a good mood this morning? I'm only here for a lunch break, you know. Don't get too excited. Pulls up a chair and just starts forking down the meal. Just some basic bread, eggs, butter. And he looks up at you. What's the matter?
Respond.
It's what? Did you just say you had to fart? What's wrong with you? Been eating too many mushrooms? I've told you.
Sorry.
It's not good for you.
It's just, yeah. No, I wasn't sure if you'd like it. I thought I over-seasoned it. So.
Over-seasoned eggs.
It's possible.
Oh my dear, you are hilarious. Goes in, continues eating, while kind of looking up at you while just piling food into his mouth. You are off today. Did you do something? What's the matter, my dear? You have that look like you just did something really stupid, and you don't want to tell me? But I think I know.
You do.
I do. I told you not to get me anything. It's a stupid celebration.
It's never stupid.
And you can recall, even in this moment as you're reliving it, his birthday just passed a few days ago. You remember going out shopping for him. All I'm saying is, it's not too late yet. You can go back to whatever store you came from and ask for a refund. I'm not going to judge you. I'd prefer it, actually, because we need to save up.
I don't think I can return it, and even if I could, I really don't want to. She just kind of smiles happily. And you've earned it.
Well, if you keep saying it, I won't know what it is, will I? And you pull out a small kind of velvet cloth and place it on the table. And he kind of still holding like a piece of bread in his mouth and kind of nibbling on it, puts it down with a cocky smile, slides it across the table over to him. Loth, how did you know?
She just
Oh.
gives a little shrug.
Opens it up, and inside you see a beautiful crafted glass lens. Oh my goodness. Now I can look at least 40 years older. You shouldn't have. And he kind of puts it up to his face, begins inspecting it, and you see he puts it up to his eye and goes, "Oh, the glass is warped. Did you get this to help me with my smithing? Dear. I think that's... Oh." And he kind of stops. You can see for a moment his eyes get almost a little bit watery before he wipes it away and puts a massive smirk on his face. I would think that you're actually beginning to know me. Thank you. Leans across the table and gives you a kiss on the forehead. Well, now, I have a surprise for you too. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. Not just yet.
I
Hope you
really
like
don't
it.
like surprises.
I think you'll like this one.
You always do.
The dream fades back. You see the details of the house around you remain, and for a moment, you see Navir's face, smiles at you one last time before he fades. And you're still within the house, but the exterior changes. You look out the window and you can see the starry night. You see the black sand of the beach. You can hear the running water of a river. And instead, sitting across from you, see a little less friendly face. So you see the Bowen mother, face emotionless as always. Kind of curiously tilting her head in your direction. As you look down at yourself and you can see your outfit is just covered in tears.
You are such an interesting creature. You mourn for his loss even to this day. But you still have memories, pleasant ones, despite the chaos. What was it like?
Which part?
What was it like having something like that in your life?
Everything you ever strive for.
See her head on tilts. She kind of leans back in the chair.
The reason that you set out is because of him, wasn't it?
Yes.
Who do you cherish more? Him? Or your beloved brother?
Don't do this to me.
It's a question. I am incapable of what you creatures call love. I'm curious. What extent of value does it hold over someone? Enough to look past even your own kin?
I can never look past my own kin. I would never.
Equal, then.
I didn't catch that last part. What was that?
The connection. Equal, then.
It's different.
Hmm.
You can experience different levels of caring for people. Some you choose, some you're just inexplicably connected to, whether you want it or not.
She just stares at you with that unreadable visage.
were you always there?
Tilts her head.
Was I always where?
With us?
Longer than you knew. Was there before you met him. Before you and your brother were born. I was always there. I apologize for the sore subject. I was just curious.
It's alright.
You see as she reaches kind of onto the table and apparating kind of in her hand as she plucks it, you see the head of the male hobgoblin. Not the female one that you have, but
No.
the male. Not yours.
Not
Not Neep. You watch as she plucks it from the plate that was once where your husband was eating, and kind of takes it and drips the blood into the void before dropping the head in, and you hear crunching and ripping and shredding. You watch as it just disappears.
I do this once before. I ask you again. Once you are done with all of this, if your brothers return to you, what would you do with your life? Whatever's the rest of it.
I genuinely don't know. That's never been something before me.
Would you look for a way to find him? To find them?
If bringing people back is possible, then yes.
My dear, come now. You know it is. You don't need to make a deal to resurrect a soul. But yours is, littered with little more than one, as we both know.
She says that the gaze changes from you to looking out the window, and your gaze kind of follows, and you can see the long, extending beach. And all on the opposite side of the river. All of the bone trees that lie in the dirt.
ahead and make me a perception check.
14.
14. Whenever you're here, you don't really get the opportunity to look around too much, to take in the surroundings that fills whatever this space is. But as you take a moment, kind of narrow your eyes while looking out the window, you can see some trees are bigger than others. Their sizes change, their shape, some even in color. Some immaculate bone white, others slightly yellowed, some even blackened, broken. See, one's a little closer to the river than others. You can't make out the full writing on it, but it strikes you in this moment. In the same way that when you slew those guardsmen that were at the Herald's hideout, how 2 new trees popped up. They also had names on them, but you didn't really put 2 and 2 together. You see his name laid out about 80 feet away, along with many others. But seeing it is a reminder. You know, you are an interesting development. I don't often chat with anyone who makes deals. Never mind those who didn't have the capacity to know who they were talking to at the time. You're very curious. You will experience a number of your sins as you continue to move forward. Know that I will relish in many of them. For you give me the chance to understand what mortals are really like. And have given me plenty company.
Her eyes just kind of keep staring out at the trees, just like a tear going down her face.
Yeah, with a 14, you can see there's a few other names. And as you keep staring out, you can see nearby, not directly next to Kavir's, but in close proximity. Let's see, oh, excuse me. When you accidentally choke on your own spit. See, Talasis. And you see Kalami. You see a name that you have not said out loud since that very day. morta. Both carved next to their names. You can't make out all the ones behind them, but you know who they are. I'll be transparent with you, Ghibli. You only have a few more minutes before you wake. Your existence in your current group is very beneficial for me. I get to learn, witness, and examine everything you do through a different lens. But going forward, I fret that after facing something you were not prepared for, you only survived because of outside help. And I'm not one for sharing. So I will help you. And you will take this help for the key purpose of continuing survival. I, of course, will obviously benefit from this as well. But every mortal soul that you slay, I will consume. I will continue to grow, and you will continue to feed me. So that once our deal is done, and once you step foot on Ravinica, and I reveal what you must do to fulfill your end of that deal, you may then go about as you please. And I may see how one beautiful, shining, sinful star as yourself tries to redeem her sins. Does that sound acceptable?
She kind of turns her head slightly towards her, not quite looking at her. Is there actually a choice in this for me?
I think it's one you'll say yes to. So much has been taken from you already. Our deal's already been struck. I'm merely offering to help you continue to live, thrive on this path out of personal interest and curiosity. You can deny it all you like, but I will continue to help you. At least until our deal is done.
Alright.
But... And... no. If you think that your current knowledge of who and what I am is enough. And you think your other relationship with Kroll is enough to understand what is happening around you. No, there's always something bigger. The aspects were the beginning, my dear. You will face much greater threats going forward. But you let them know who stands behind you. And for the first time, you watch as the darkness fades. The shimmering form around the Bone Mother, no longer intending on hiding what's behind the mask, reveals a pencil-thin female silhouette in a black dress, dark, almost purplish skin, large red circular eyes. For the first time, you catch a glimpse. We've really been talking to all this time. Let me go ahead and post that for you. And you watch as that head that she ate previously is swelling her waistline as it slowly sinks downwards. I'll let the others know you're mine. That you're not for the taking until our deal's done. So do try and survive till then. Ta-ta. And you are pulled out of the dream. Everybody wakes up, and you can all go ahead and mark down that long rest. Upon the next morning.
God. Where's my fucking wine?
Hey guys, we're gonna have a short, fun session, and everyone's gonna be happy and love it. Yeah, no. Hey man, not everyone can have a happy level up. But as morning comes, you can see the dawn crests upon your. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it kind of does crest through some of the holes in your ship, waking a few of you naturally. And as you all make your way up from your various different kind of soggy breakfasts that were left underneath in the storage hold, you find that both Percy and Pearl. Well, Pearl is currently asleep, kind of curled up on the deck in what appears to be a sleeping bag of some sort. But Percy is still awake and is at the helm. Xyrus is also sleeping, but you can see she is in a trance, kind of directly next to the helm. Actually, no, she's kind of sitting in front of it. She's kind of like sitting right here, and you see the rest of the crew is hard at work. You see Jorg is up early, repairing the ship. You can see the your navigator, New, is standing by Percy's side with a small compass and is kind of pointing out general directions and clearly having some sort of conversation before they all see you emerge. And you see a smile crosses Percy's face. And as you all walk out, you see him go, "Oh, good morning. Lovely to see you all emerge walking on your own two legs. How are you feeling?"
Obviously, not great, but I feel obliged to ask nonetheless.
Oh, well, don't outdo yourself. Please, on our behalf.
He smiles.
Well, first off, congratulations again for surviving whatever the hell that was. If you'd like, I can give you updates on what happened overnight. A brawl broke out. A number of very powerful creatures attempted to leave the island and thwart the first line of defense. Kalan Dambala managed to slay a number of these creatures, as you know, but also managed to hold the island long enough for the Monarch of Dragons to come by, pick it up, and relocate it a safe distance from Paradise Peak. So your part in stopping what could have been a much larger disaster is very much appreciated. At least that was the words of the councilwoman who informed me of this.
Oh, of course, not your words.
I wanted to know who was sourcing this information.
Sure.
I could thank you, but what merit would that have coming from my mouth? And you see he smiles towards you as he says that.
Couldn't hurt.
Well, you also have my thanks for surviving. I don't want Maeve to come back to a world where all her friends are dead. Wouldn't be much of a welcome party, would it? So, if you're feeling up for it, anyone like to give me a recap of your part of the battle? For personal curiosity, you are one of the few people who had a elongated fight with a number of these creatures. Unfortunately, I came in swinging a bit too hard, so I didn't get to ask, talk, or observe much from them. But I don't think you minded that too much, and he says that as he looks towards Duradon. By the way, Kipley, Rictus, and Mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give me, actually, you don't have to if you don't want to, but what is your passive insights?
15.
15.
18.
15,
Oh.
15. Was it 15 for all of you?
No, he said
My-
Rictus was 18. I thought he said.
Yeah, 18.
18?
Passive intelligence. Yeah. Or
Insight.
investigation.
Insight.
12. Sorry.
I was like, I was like, I know you have some wisdom bonus, but a passive
smart.
insight of 18 would be ridiculous for Artificer.
My
For
bad.
sure. Okay. No, you're good. Cool. 15, that's enough. It's strange. Both of you have met Percy before, obviously. Both of you have heard him talk and how he talks, his mannerism, his cadence, the way he carries himself, etc., etc. This is a strange abnormality. Because even for Kipley, who remembers him mostly as a dick for the first time he struck you with lightning, and how he nearly killed the majority of at least your half of the party that was with him. You notice the way he says things, and because he rolled really shit and doesn't have a lot of good charisma, it looks like he's trying to put on some sort of false face right now. You don't know whether that's one of confidence
power, whatever it is. But it doesn't seem like him. It seems like him mimicking someone else. You don't know who, because at least those two haven't met them, but
Yeah, no.
it just seems odd.
Kipling, like, she's always thought he's kind of done dickish things, but he's acting straight up dick right now.
Oh yeah, no, he previously did dickish things with good intentions.
Yeah, like he was
but-
like a nervous little Nancy.
Exactly. Right now that does not seem to stick. There seems like there is some. It looks like you're talking to a different Percy, and it weirds you out just a little bit. So no, don't everyone step up at once.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, I don't like it.
What? What do you mean? What am I doing right now? I'm escorting you until you reach Port Cliff, and then I'm gonna be heading home.
Every time you show up, you're so dramatic.
Dramatic for killing an aspect of the monarch? I don't understand where you're going with this. Would you
I don't.
prefer that I kept your friend dead and I not do any? I'm confused.
I'd prefer if you were just normal.
I am very much normal, my friend.
I disagree.
You're putting
Well-
on a show.
As soon as you say that, you see he cracks for a second. I don't know what you're talking about, Kipling. But I ask that you pretend to treat me with a modicum of respect
Oh,
for what I have done for you.
sure. Like you showed me in front of all your betters.
And you see, as he says that out loud, his finger traces a pattern in the air, and using minor illusion, you see he spells out the words, "Sorry, he's listening. Please don't say anything more." Well, you know, things happen, and I don't know exactly what events you're talking about, but again, anything that you have to report on for what creatures you faced, what abilities they had, etc., would be very much appreciated. But if you are too tired and the journey was too traumatic for you, you can always come back and ask at another time. When he says that, he has a look of a kind of like knowing, like, hey man, I know you know, you don't have to, even if everyone's passive insights, anything above a 10 gets that he is saying you can if you want to give any details right now, but he is certainly not going to force you, because now that you know someone is listening in on this, he knows that this information, whatever you say, is going to be spread to them. So if you're going to say something, limit it.
You know, it's
Is
really hard
the-
to say.
We fought some hands, and some chests, and some
Hands and
big
chests.
guys.
It was a
Large
big
guys.
blur. I mean, we were all nearly dead. I mean, when you guys showed up, you were like the heroes. Saved all of us, you know?
Oh,
We were just the weaklings laying here on the deck of this boat, being pushed along by destiny. And here you came and shoved lightning up its ass.
you
Thank
flatter me
you.
ever so, Kipling. Thank you. Yeah.
Mimics, large hands, big eyes. Gotcha. Any names? I mean, it's weird that they would announce anything, obviously. It wouldn't make sense for an enemy to shout what exactly they were, who they were, but, you know, personal curiosity has me asking this.
I don't remember any names being said. It all just kind of happened so fast.
And Kalan Dambala? Fought with you, yes? Did you, perchance, see any interesting abilities, castings, powers?
The sun,
The sun.
pretty much.
Nods. Looks like he makes note of that.
So he has the ability to summon a sun. Gotcha.
It might have just been like sunbeams coming down, though.
So he has the spell Sunbeam. That is different.
Might have
No,
been
I know
sun
what that is.
sprinkle.
Sun Sprinkle is not a spell, Kiplee, but
You
thank you
don't
for
know
your
that.
input. I do.
I thought they were
do.
just like dancing lights.
Now I know you cannot cast that as a paladin, but thank you for that.
Why do
Rictus.
you want to know?
Just curious to get a mark on the battle and to inform others of what songs should be sung and praised. There is a bard that is going to make a story about this.
Well,
Um,
maybe that bard would like to talk to Kaldanbola himself.
He's hard to get a hold of. So
He is.
we'll send her his way and see how it goes. But thank you for your remarks. I am going to go scout out around the ship, see if there's anything following us or any unwanted monsters following in your tail. If you need me or anything else, Pearl would be happy to answer any questions. And he says this while all staring at Kiplee.
Don't eat any of the bananas. We're saving those.
I'm going to be flying around the ship, so it'll be hard to do so, but noted. Also, I think... Wait, crate of bananas, I checked, most of them were gone.
No,
And
they
a lot of
just
them were peeled,
reappear.
actually.
They just
That's
see,
not how bananas work,
see those
actually. No.
buckets over there? They're full of bananas now.
I think you hit your head very hard. Anyway, I will be going now. And you see as he kind of takes off, just using basic fly spell, begins doing larger and wider circles of the ship, until eventually he's like a good couple of 100 feet away, just kind of, you see looking down at the water and checking around the ship. Sees as soon as he steps off, Pearl kind of opens an eye and turns towards all of you. Doesn't say anything. Just awkwardly stares.
I still got your hair.
I still have control water right now. I can sink the ship if you like.
Do you want to?
Do you want to give me my hair back? By the way,
Do
now that you
want
see
that?
Pearl, when you previously saw her a few days ago, her form was pretty gaunt. She looked sick, and she still looks sick.
You can see any semblance of the awakening from last night is gone. But, at least for the moment, at least she said, by context clues, you assume she can still cast. Unless she's joking about control water. She looks towards Mammoth. I would certainly like you to not have my hair.
Alright, that seems like a fairer feeling. And he'll kind of take it out of his bag and burn it.
She's, as soon as you take it out of your bag, she looks at you for a moment and goes, why'd you keep it? Which, by the way, this is weird because Pearl is talking in an accent you've never heard her talking before, and is acting completely normal with it. Duradon has never met Pearl, so you have no idea. But the rest of you are all kind of like still taking in the fact that either this is a fake Pearl or the Pearl that you met previously is still a fake Pearl. But she looks towards Mammoth and asks,
I don't. I mean, I didn't really see any reason to get rid of it. It didn't.
no, but why'd you take it?
I didn't.
Or someone gave it to you then? So why'd you keep it?
I don't know. I didn't think about it. I just kind of held on to it to hold on to it.
For no reason or purpose?
I don't know.
And narrows her eyes.
What are you asking me actually?
Just curious what you're doing with my hair. But you
Well,
can keep
nothing
it.
anymore.
That's fine. It's not like I can reattach it anyways. Well, you can see Pearl's hair is visibly shorter as well. Like, shorter, thinner, not as lustrous. So the hair that you, ironically, the hair that you hold is healthier and better looking than hers at the moment.
I'm still gonna torch it.
And use the awkward staring contest.
You look
So you're not-
awful.
Well. Yes. Yes, I do. You all look like you're doing well.
You know, for what it's worth, Maeve mentioned she thought she'd found a cure for you. Well, more of a solution than an actual cure.
So I take it she told you.
No, she didn't tell you. Oh, that's right, you left.
No, I meant she told you why I was sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask you something, pal?
I only have a few minutes before Percy comes back, so make it quick.
Why did you lie to her? To Maeve?
She kind of avoids eye contact and goes, why do we do anything?
for those that we love. I didn't want her to know. So I was scared it would affect us. And I was afraid that she would spend her entire life worrying about me. And not herself. Clearly I was wrong. And she's dead because of that.
You know, I have been racking my brain, trying to figure out why we never got along. And I always told myself it's because of our differences. Fuck me if we aren't the exact same fucking person, you and I.
Looks up at you, confused.
I also lied to someone I love very deeply about what I was and my past, which also killed them in the end.
See a weird look cross over Pearl's face that she's never given you before. It's a weird bit of understanding and empathy that kind of turns into sadness. And you understand why I'm doing this. Percy's not confident that he can reach her without help. Nor is he confident that he can save me before I die. He's hurting himself every time I awaken. The vials that he gives me are a mix of Sextrum and his own blood mixed with a few other things. He's scared right now. Very scared that he's going to lose everything. So he turned to the one person who previously controlled his life. The one person with answers. She kind of like bites her lip for a moment before looking up at all of you.
Let me guess, it's his parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His dad. I've never trusted anyone really in my life before besides Maeve. So when Percy was sleeping, I checked him, detect magic, a number of other small spells. His father bugged him. He has a constant scrying orb on his back, always watching, always listening. And I apologize for anything that he says or does because of that.
So, let's say you bring Maeve back.
Yeah.
And then you wither away to nothing. And then what? What's Maeve left with?
I don't know if I'm
But
going
your
to
dead form and Percy bowing to his father.
I don't know if I'm going to get to that first step, Ghibli. He is relying on his father's ability. His bloodline is the only reason I'm alive right now. So I live on his whim at the moment. And he hates it, and I hate it, but it's the only way that I might live and have a chance to see Maeve. So I'm not in a planning phase right now. We are headed to Orabunda after this to look for any kind of scroll that can get us to the Hells. We are going to try and find her soul. That's all I have right now. But unfortunately, I don't have the benefit of being able to plan out something. Because I don't know if he's even going to allow me to live. So why would you want a random peasant woman caught up between your heir and your future daughter-in-law?
Why not run? Why not look for someone that can help you?
Because then Maeve dies forever. He can't do
Don't
it
know
on his
that.
own. He's still weak. He hasn't slept in days. He barely trances. Percy is almost more of a wreck than I am right now. So he won't be able to do a single thing without me. And if he can't even find her, he won't even be able to free her. And as much as all of you love to do the same thing right now, you would be powerless to do so. So right now we are just leaning against each other, trying to find any way out of this, where everyone is happy. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know, but there you have it.
Which of you is real?
What?
This? Or the one before, the one Maeve knew? Which of you is real?
She just kind of looks down at the floorboards.
Both in a way. I didn't tell Maeve everything. But I did love her. I do love her. But as you said, when you have a past that can haunt you, that can find you, can hurt you, there are aspects of your life that you have to hide from your loved ones to keep them safe.
I don't know if I believe that anymore.
Well, you don't know the things that I do, the same way I don't know the things that you have gone through. So, he's going to be coming back soon, so I suggest if you have any questions, you save them.
Do you have a way for us to contact you?
Some of you can already reach out.
Yeah, I was thinking something more
She
like
gestures
a
towards
rock
Mustang.
or something, tangible.
There is a reason of why Vince is constantly under immense stress. And that is because he hands out those things like candy. So unfortunately, I don't have any sort of card, stone.
Are you saying he just gives them out to anyone?
Well, no, but
Everyone?
he has a lot of them for interested parties that he likes. And as a booker, information broker, etc., you have to know people to do your job. So, while he has a lot of them, he doesn't give them out to anyone. But in the same sense, you can reach out to him and he can reach out to me. So, you already have a way of getting in touch.
I gave you a rock, he did.
Yes, in a sense.
She narrows her eyes.
I've known him much longer than any of you or Maeve.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
Yes, I know.
Oh. Fine then.
If I do live, I will find some way to put my boot as far up his asshole as I physically can.
I wouldn't advise it.
No, because it's a really deep asshole. Just like, never mind. Oh, it hurts to laugh. Anyway, that's it. But,
Also, this is Duradon.
hi. Pleasure to meet you, Duradon.
Yo, seems you have a lot of trauma. Nice to meet you.
Don't we all?
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead
No.
and give her a history check because she might actually. Damn, she rolled a natural 18. She looks at you for a second and pauses.
Savage Hunter.
Yeah, that is my title.
Not many know the origin of that title, do they?
I may have shown them a thing or two.
No.
What do you know of the origin?
I know it's not for collecting bounties. That's all. Anyway, good luck on your journeys. I've heard you're headed for Mistran. should be safer than, well, this area for a while. Safe travels. I'll reach out to any of you if we find anything on Maeve.
Duradon will use the 5th level feature to look and Jared knows that fucking what's the name isn't awakened.
Pearl.
But
Yeah.
he knows Pearl isn't awakened. But Duradon is going to look and see.
Did you just forget her name?
You forget
Yeah,
your
I
wife's
did.
name,
Actually-
Jared? Did you forget your
wife's
wife's
name?
name? Who you made?
Maeve didn't forget shit.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah,
Maeve.
yeah. What are you looking for?
I'm
For class levels?
doing the little ability. Oh, that's right. I can ask for.
You can look for
things.
specific things, yeah. So you can
Okay,
look
cool.
if you're doing this throughout the conversation. You can look for a few things, but if you're only getting the idea afterwards, you can look for 2 at most.
So he was pretty silent, because I think if they were like if he was nearby, he was just kind of like listening and investigating. If he was a bit further away, he was just reading their lips to understand the conversation that they were having.
Motherfucker.
Observant, baby.
Every character
Mhm.
has observant.
Yes, every. Motherfucker, I'm trying to find where the shit is at. Oh, there it goes. It's literally in Homebrew Rules. I think he's checking her highest. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Her
I
highest
think he
ability
wants
score.
to her. No, because it uses. I was reading the ability wrong. It uses. I have to roll with my highest modifier.
Yeah.
He wants to know her mental scores.
Sure.
Her armor class in her armor class.
Bro, let me tell you. Not high. That's obvious. She's not wearing armor. She's in a dress. You see, she does still have a shield on her. That's been kind of, Well, actually, you know what? Take that back. You haven't met her, so you don't know. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Using for you, I believe it'd be your strength modifier.
It indeed is.
Cool.
Unfortunately, it's a disadvantage.
Damn. I was really hoping you fail. Man, I don't want to give out information about that. So here's the thing. She is in a dress. She has whatchamacallit on her. The fucking long shield.
Tower shield?
Tower
Power
shield,
shield.
thank you. I don't have Pearl's fucking sheet pulled up, so I forgot the name of it. But she has a tower shield on her, which provides some decent armor class and cover. However, despite that, or more like on top of that, you see her AC is currently 22.
Damn.
Now, it doesn't tell you how you know these things. So you don't know what is causing it.